part for this morning. And I leave the floor to Fabio, who will give us some inputs and will explain us this interesting scenario for our project. Thank you.
Thank you. So,
No,
don't worry about that. All over the Europe, it's a pleasure for me being here again, here at my second house, FEBA. We have been working together for 1 year now. I mean, we started last year and was amazing for me for several reasons. Maybe someone of you will remember that I proposed to my current wife to be my wife during the annual convention in Rome. So I feel particularly connected and committed to the mission of FEBA. Apart from jokes, I'm really happy and glad to have the chance of contributing in building something together. So building an output together, a technological one, which is the thing I can do. And so I would like to use the next hour to briefly present you where we are supposed to go in terms of technology and the way in which we are supposed to go. I will talk mostly about how to manage the risks that we see, like on the horizon. So we see some issues that maybe we can manage, some challenges. But if you want to go more into detail in terms of technology or everything, I will be more than glad to answer all your questions, okay? So we talk about data or information, knowledge, or everything, I mean, about that field. Thank you, Laura. You did an amazing job in clarifying things before in the previous session, and I think your contribution and your effort will be pivotal in the success of the project, because we really need that kind of guide, methodological guide. So thank you again. And when I listen people talking about data, in my mind I have something similar to this. Okay, in my mind I see dashboards or reports. I see this kind of beautiful data, or maybe even this, so even more complex dashboards. You know, I see beautiful narratives that come out by using data. Or even this, you know. So I think that many of you are used to see and to watch to this kind of data, right? To this kind of interfaces, right? When we talk about data, often we think about this kind of output. Since I'm half of myself is a technician, I also think about what is behind, you know. I think about databases and data mining and data warehousing and everything. I think about performances. So where do we storage all this data? Where do we put all this data? How do we query this data? And who can access this data? Who cannot access this data? What is the level of security that we use in order to be sure that these data are properly stored and managed? When I think about data in FEBA, I have this kind of vision, you know. So we started to think about this data collection and this platform several months ago, and we talked about online observatory. Okay, so a place where people can access data in a beautiful form about what is going on all over the Europe in the food bank network. So this is a vision. Let's try to understand how to get there. when we talk about technology, and when we talk about this technology, and when we talk about this vision about technology, we are talking about change. Some of you before in the previous session touched this part, you know, is in the air, you can feel it. We are not just talking about, you know, writing a number somewhere, okay? We are talking about the way in which we work and we operate daily in order to gather data, stock that data, and share that data. So when I think about this project, I don't think mostly to a technological problem or to a technological project, but I really think about a change project. There is a lot of work that we are going to do in order to reach this vision. Isn't that cool? I mean, it's cool. I mean, in my mind, it's cool, the vision, the idea of being capable, maybe for the first time at the European level, to communicate outside and even internally what we are doing, what is the impact that we create with others. We have the chance to make others committed into our mission through data. This is great. I mean, this is the type of project that make me really nervous, worried, because it's a big challenge, but still excited. You know, I have been working with TechSoup in the last 2.5 years. We are a global network. I see many networks or umbrella organizations similar to FEBA. To be honest, rarely I see this kind of commitment into reaching this goal. And I think that we can inspire so many people all over Europe through this project. Okay, so this is why I'm so happy and glad to be part of the team that will deliver this. As I was mentioned you a few minutes ago, it's the project that we are facing. It's not just about technology. It's for sure about technology. There is the technological piece will be really important, but as you mentioned at the very end of the previous session, it's a cultural challenge. It's a cultural issue. So when I was preparing this presentation, I thought about the approach and the model that I usually use when there is such a project. Okay, when there is a project in which we have to face both technical and cultural challenges. And because, you know, the idea that is in my mind is that we are facing a digital transformation challenge. Many of you were here last year, and I presented my vision and the TechSoup vision about digital transformation. When we talk about digital transformation, we talk about a set of changes, you know. Part of the changes that we are going to manage, to face in the next months will be technological, for sure. Technically, we will change the interface that we are going to use in order to load data that are shared with the public, okay? But more than that, we will have to face the fear of using a reliable platform, for example. People, for sure, our colleagues will be afraid, will be scared about the new technology that we are going to present to them. Even if it will be super simple, they will be scared because we are going to ask them to change, to shift to a new interface. Second, they will be scared about the need, the absolute need to produce data that we are going to require them. We are asking them to take some time during their daily operations to upload data somewhere on a platform, to produce that data. We are asking them to change, to make several changes, at several levels. You know, we are asking to the whole network to move to a next step. Let's see these two, why we are talking about a cultural and the technical issues. Cultural issue, because we know our organizations, before my current job, I used to be involved in the Italian food bank. So I spent probably 2.5 years there, and I had the chance of being there in the operations, and I know how much we are understaffed. I don't know how to translate this word. We don't have enough people to do everything. I don't know, is it your case? I mean, you have the same situation, okay? You say so. So I know that people in the warehouses and in the offices, they are so much pressed about so many things to do that must be done in order to give food to people, that it's hard to ask to them to unfocus from the core activities and to focus on new activities, you know, on side activities. Okay, so we have to work on this, and we will see in the next slides how, under a technological perspective, we can mitigate this risk. Second cultural issue, very important. When we talk about technology, in general in the world, more specifically in the third sector, more specifically in the food bank environment, when we talk about technology, often people think about a dehumanizing factor. I remember that a few years ago I was trying to work on this idea of using technology to make more efficient transactions among actors of the network, which was on the paper, which was a great idea, perfect. As an engineer, it was perfect. But still, this approach, technological-based approach, was facing the reluctancy of people that see, you know, when we talk about technology, it's like if we feel to be less human than we are, you know? Does it make sense? So when you talk about introducing technology, many people are afraid, are concerned to lose their own identity. The hidden thought in the back of their mind is like, you know what, I'm concerned that technology will substitute people in giving value to others, you know. And you know, we all believe about the importance of relationship, which is a core value, a core part of our daily operations. So none of us want to remove this part on the table. From the table. We just want to introduce a new tool to make data collection, data mining, and data sharing more simple. Let's see a couple of technical issues. So we understand that we are going to face cultural issues. Let's see what we mean about technical issues or technical challenges. First, we are talking about data or information or knowledge or everything by assuming that we have that data, by assuming that every partner in the network is capable to produce that data easily with a low amount of effort. I'm not that sure that this is the truth. Does it make sense? I mean, I'm not that sure that once we will go on the field and trying to get that data, the story will be simple. Not that sure. In my experience, it's never that simple, okay? So we will have to work a lot under a technological perspective to make the data entry simple, and maybe to create some secret sauce under the hood to extract data that we don't have all over the network. Okay, so we will need to create something to fill the gap that currently we have across the network in gathering data. Second technical issue is the digital divide. We are talking about technology, so we are talking about an interface, a software that for sure will communicate with a centralized database, okay, where information will be stored. This means that we must be sure that everybody has internet connection, reliable internet connection. I know this makes you laugh. In Italy, it's not that guaranteed all over the.
In Ireland,
in either, okay. So we must be sure we will face some connection issues. We will face some personal issues of people that will be using this technology. So we must be sure that the interfaces will be enough user-friendly to be used by everybody. So we are going to face several challenges. So the question is, how can overcome the cultural and technical issues related, encapsulated, linked to the digital transformation required to adopt a platform for data collection and visual storytelling? We are in my mind, but I will be really pleased to listen for your feedback on this. I would like to face this project like a digital transformation project, more than just a platform creation or platform development. You will understand in the very last slides how I would like to face this project. In order to face these challenges, since unfortunately half of my mind is still a researcher, a university researcher, it's something that Laura knows will be. Yeah, we apologize, yeah, for this. So it's something that will stay with me for my entire life, unfortunately. I decided, and I would like to discuss this with you, to rely on a very popular model about digital transformation, about innovation in general. It's called technology acceptance model. Okay, it's very popular. The first version of this model is dated 1985, and since then we worked a lot in making more sophisticated this model. So we know it works. It's the best thing we have right now to address this kind of projects. So basically, this acceptance model says one very simple but still powerful thing. People will use and adopt, so really use technology if they perceive that technology is useful. Second, they perceive that technology is easy to be used. So the only way to have a chance to introduce smoothly and in a good way the platform, the observatory that we are going to create, is to work on these two aspects. First, the usefulness of the platform. Usefulness must be two ways: for FEBA as an institution, and for each member that is going to populate data in the common database. Okay, so usefulness and easy of use. Okay, do you agree with this? Can you follow me? Okay. So when we talk about, in this case, when we talk about usefulness, we are facing the cultural issues that I mentioned you before. When we talk about easy of use, we are talking about the technological issues that I mentioned you before. So let's start from the first area, and you will discover more about the type of platform that you are gonna creating by starting from this point. So the platform that we are going to release has to clearly answer to this question. We have to make clear for each user what is the utility that he or she gets from using the platform. The platform has to create value for the user that is using it. Does it make sense? So agents all over the network will be not just data entry people. They will be people that they will have the chance of using the platform for their own scopes, for their own needs. So first, we have to create a very simple, reliable, efficient, detailed software. And we have to make the yearly data collection simpler. So the first answer that I would like people give to the question, what utility do I get from using the platform, is the first utility is that it's more efficient than the current way. Okay, currently data are saved in an Excel sheet, right? Excel file. Many partners do that. Okay, so partners compile a sheet, an Excel sheet that is sent to FEBA. Okay, let's discuss about that in the following part. An Excel file hasn't meant to store data. I mean, you can do that with an Excel file, but it's not its own perfect job. You know, there are better way to do that. Okay, for example, we can validate data before they are sent, or we can compare directly the data that are sent through the system with the previous series. So we can suggest people how to compile properly the data sheet that we ask. Okay, so we can make the process more efficient. If there is something that is not working, maybe we can use the software to align all the agency and to let them to correct their own data entries. Second gain that I would like to create and to generate for the food banks of the network. We would like that once you, as a food bank, load and save a data on the platform, you can use that data in order to create your own reports. Every food bank in the network creates reports. We know that. You have to engage stakeholders, you know, so you have to produce some evidence of what you do daily, right? Okay, you can confirm that. What if you have a visual tool that, starting from your own data, lets you to create reports that you can share internally, of course, but also externally, publicly, that you can embed in your own websites, that you can send via email to your stakeholders. Okay, this is the idea that is leading us in the process. So once again, the two gains that we are looking for with these projects are, first, making the data entry and data saving process easier, more efficient. Second, giving you a tool to produce your own reports. What about the technical issue that we are going to face? What about all the ease of use that we have to express through the platform? When we talk about ease of use, we are talking about this question. that users have in their mind. How much effort will require this platform to be used? Because, you know, we talked about gains a few minutes ago. Now we have to talk about efforts. And this is really linked to the previous question from the Belgian friend. First, the platform that we are going to create should be, in our mind, zero training. Should be something so simple to be used that theoretically it doesn't need any training. Okay? So it must be based on a very intuitive interface, very simple. And second, has to provide the so-called inline help. What is an inline help? Something that you don't have in any Excel file. You cannot have it unless you use notes, but you know, it's a bit difficult. At several levels, you know, first we can give an helper about how to compile the sheets that we provide through the interface. Second, we can provide advanced tool like a chat, an internal in-app chat, so people can chat with experts while they are filling the forms that we give to them, okay? In order to make more frictionless the whole process, okay? Second, fully responsive. This is a requirement. And a responsive interface is an interface that adapts to the device in which it is used. You know, in 2020, everybody is using this kind of objects, you know, about smartphones, okay? So we cannot think about a software that is not working there. Does it make sense? So we know that we have to manage a lot of data, but our desire, our hope, is to create an interface that is usable in every device, including smartphones, okay? Third, multi-language. I cannot ask to people from Malta, we are very friends, so, or from, I don't know, from Belgium, to use an interface that is in English, only in English. It's unfair. If my goal is to help these people in using the software, I have to translate the interface in their own language. Okay? Do you agree, Angela? Okay, you agree. So the platform will be translatable. Okay, every partner, every food bank will be capable to use the platform in the language that prefers. Okay. Fourth, I added just 1 minute ago in order to follow your suggestion. This is something that I showed last year. Do you remember when I told you about APIs? Maybe some you were there. You remember that. I'm not sure this is something that we will have in the release number 1. We have to understand this because it's a bit. It requires a bit effort under a development perspective, but the interface, the platform will be developed with an API-first approach in mind. What does it mean? That we don't create a monolith, a block of rock. We create something that is interoperable, that can be exchanged data with other services. Other services including your own softwares, okay? Including your own Excel files, okay? Why we are developing the interface and the platform with an API approach, API first approach in mind? Because we know that there is so much value out there in terms of existing information systems, okay? And we don't want to lose that value, okay? So in the first version, probably, since we have to face so many challenges, both cultural and both technical, I'm not sure that for all the partners we will be capable to integrate automatically with the several systems that we will find all over Europe. Probably this is too much, okay? But we will for sure develop a software that is absolutely integrable, so that we can integrate with other third-party services. More, we can document the API. For whom is not that technical, API is a simple system to exchange data with third-party services, okay? And we will document the API methods that we will publish in our web services so that other developers, maybe in your own food banks, will be capable to integrate with our platform, okay? There is a question, so if you want, I like to discuss a lot, so if we can, I'm more than pleased to answer your questions.
So again, Etienne Rubens.
It should be fine.
Etienne Rubens, Belgian Federation. Our API stands for Application Protocol Interface, something like that?
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. And second question. Well, I think if you make an API, it would be good to make it specifically with Excel, because I think all the country federations now are used to produce a report in Excel for the FEBA, so probably that will meet the most needs for the current countries, federations.
Thank you for your suggestion. It is something that we can absolutely discuss. My original idea was to shift from the Excel as a data entry tool to an online interface. Okay, this was my first original idea. Maybe we can export data from the platform in an Excel file. So this is something that we can discuss. But for sure, if there is a common need for this, so for importing data from Excel inside our system, this is absolutely feasible. Okay, so something that we can absolutely discuss. So the data can can be saved directly into the interface, into the software, okay? Or it can be saved into an Excel file and then imported, okay? My personal opinion will be the first option, because, you know, then we have the chance of training people about using a new interface that we can enrich over the time. But if this will be too much requiring under an effort perspective, we will for sure provide the upload Excel function. Not a problem, okay? So Chiara is taking notes of this, and we hope to use the next months to have this kind of feedbacks in order to create a good software. So if you followed my presentation, which is very short, so I would like to use the next time for discuss. You should have recognized an uncommon approach, maybe. We started from the gains that we can have if we decide to use a common shared platform to create reports about our activities. And then we tried to understand which kind of cultural and technical issues and challenges we are going to face. Challenges are the so-called requirements that we will use in order to create a good software. a good and acceptable and easy to be used software, okay? How are we going to reach a full IT acceptance? First option, praying. You know, but maybe it's not that technical. Second option, through an appropriate project management approach. Appropriate project management approach. Laura knows that I come from organization science, so for me, good result depend by the process that you use. No? You reach a good destination if you have a good travel, you know. So I would like to spend a few words about what is gonna happen in the next months, okay? Usually, if you are I don't know if you are an engineer or if you work in the ICT field, maybe yes, maybe.
Sometimes in projects.
Okay. So if there is someone among you that is familiar with software projects, probably you are very familiar with this approach, which is called waterfall approach. In this approach, there is it begins with very early assessment of needs, a definition of all requirements of the software, so all the details of the software. And then after a long period of development, so after months, you have something, an output, you see, some value, okay? So there is a long period between the requirements definition and the software delivery, okay? You know what happens in this long period? Things changes. Does it make sense? Things changes. Opinions change. Priorities change. Technology change. So what we take for granted in the very beginning of a project is not true at the end of the project. So often, people are not really satisfied with software development. Is this your story? Maybe some of you? No, you are all of you are happy with softwares? Okay, great. Maybe someone from home can write about his or her experience with softwares. In the past 19 years, we started to work with a new approach, which is called Agile, and which is the way in which we usually manage projects. Basically, we are going to release small parts, small version of the softwares, okay? Releasing a small, simple version of a software means that you can use the software, but in a not complete way. Why do we? But in a very short time. So in a very short time, we release a new version that you can use in your own organizations. Why do we use this approach? Because we get feedback from user. So we collect a small amount of requirements. We developed a first version of the software. We give this version to the users, they test it, and they give us feedback. So we can improve the quality of software, okay, without waiting for months. Last Saturday, so 2 days ago, we released the first version of a software that is used by very popular Italian non-profit. And they were amazed about this, because after a few weeks, after 3 weeks actually, they got something to play with. Of course, something really simple, not complete, it cannot be complete in just 3 weeks, but still something that they can use. And they are giving feedbacks to us. It's cool. This morning, they wrote in the internal chat of several users wrote in the internal chat of the platform, and they wrote, this is great. I can log into the system, and I like the color, and I like the button. I was amazed because one of them, a girl, she said, the software is great, but by the way, my last name is not Feliziani, is another last name because there was a mistake in loading users. They are playing with that. They are starting to accept the platform, and they feel part of a project. This is very important. So this is the agile project management is the approach that we would like to use in this specific project. And this is also the reason why we decided to create a pilot with some of you, because this approach is something that works well in a controlled environment. You can understand that. Imagine that you release a version 1 of a software to thousands of people. Okay, you will get thousands of feedbacks and will be a bit hard to be managed. But if we create a task force and we work on the platform very committed, we have really a lot of chances to create something valuable in a very short of time. Okay. When I talk about agile, I always use this kind of this figure, this image, picture. We are going to do things in this way. So in the bottom part of the picture, not in that way. The example, the metaphor that I use is the metaphor of a car. Imagine that you are asking for a car, our platform. You ask for a red car which, I don't know, which has some particular shape, etc., etc., etc. You think about your perfect ideal car. It's in your mind, it's perfect in your mind. Because based on the information that you have right now and based on the experience that you have, that's the perfect car. So you give the requirements to the constructor, and the company builds the car, and after several months, because it's a very complex car with so many optionals and so many details, after several months you get the car, okay? And just only after several months you are happy. Before you are not that happy because you are waiting. The agile approach is different. You ask for a car, you get a skateboard, which is not super cool actually. I understand that. It's not super cool, but you have something. You can still move faster than on your feet. Does it make sense? And you can really concretely compare yourself and your thought with reality. You can ask to yourself, really I want to move faster? Or maybe I want to move safer? And based on these feedback, you can give more good information to the company, and you go back to the company and you say to them, you know what, skateboard is not exactly what I was thinking about, but it's still, okay. Why don't you add some details to the skateboard? So maybe I can manage in a better way the direction. And iteration after iteration, so cycle after cycle, release after release, you have the perfect car that you want. And look, the car that is developed in an agile approach is totally different from the car developed with a waterfall approach. Because during the process, you understand better what is really creating value for you. Users understand what they really want, and they are capable to give feedback, valuable feedback to producers. Okay? So this is the approach I would like to use for this project. We talked about matryoshka, sorry. Matryoshka. I am still improving my Russian, matryoshka. We are talking about matryoshka. Versions are like matryoshka. I'm super happy that you used the same picture, so I'm super happy. Matryoshka. You know, till a few years ago, I thought that matryoshkas, I don't know how to translate that, plural of matryoshka, were all equals. So they were absolutely copies. So the small matryoshka, I was thinking that the small matryoshka was absolutely equal to the big matryoshka, okay? It's not true, right? They are all different. Yeah, they are all different. I discovered this and I was amazed about this. Yeah, I did. I played with matryoshkas and I was amazed about this because they look equal, they are not. They are similar, of course. One is inside the other, like version. You start from a small version that you increase the version, you add details, and at the very end, you have the final version, which is a version that is not just bigger of the first one, is richer of the first one, okay? So we are going to use this lean-based approach to development. We will build release versions, and then let people to play with that version and to give us feedback in order to improve the next version. And we will work on with this approach for several weeks. We call them sprints, okay? Short period of time, 2 weeks, in which we deliver something new, a new version, okay? So we will develop for 2 weeks, we will deliver a version, give out the version to the pilot team, to the task force. The task force will play with the version, will give us feedback, and we will improve the software altogether, okay? Why are we using this approach? Not just because it's playful. I mean, we play a lot, I like a lot. But because the success rate of projects that are, of ICT projects that are managed with this approach is higher than with the waterfall approach, okay? These percentages vary a lot from project to project, from country to country, from project side to project side, but I strongly believe that for this kind of project, it's perfect. Okay, it's perfect. Okay, that's enough for me now. So I would like to open the discussion by having in mind this quote. I think that we, as FEBA, in 2020, we are required and we are asked and pushed from the environment to think in a new way. And with this project, with this platform project, I see really the chance of doing things that nobody else has done before. In my secret dreams during the night when I sleep, I think I see a future in which there will be a website, a platform, where people can really understand what is the key of our daily actions, why are we doing that, which kind of value we are generating, and by seeing this, they will decide to take action. So for me, this is the type of motivation that is pushing me to face these challenges. Okay. So who wants to start with the first question? So Emma, okay.
Hi, so Emma from Food Cloud. Thank you for a great presentation. I guess it'd just be really good to clarify what you think success looks like at the end of this. So I understand what you're saying, you know, the website, that people can input their data into a website. So at the moment we do collect data. We collect it via spreadsheet. Obviously some countries have built systems to populate the spreadsheet, I'm guessing. Some more of us fill it out every year. But I guess the first hurdle, just to understand fully, the first hurdle you want to overcome is that the collection of data is easier for the food banks and they can fill this in an online tool.
Mm-hmm.
And then the second piece is that at the moment we do communicate the data externally. So Angela has our fantastic presentation and we have our website and we talk about how many meals we redistribute every year at a European level. But we want to provide that data to our network in a more accessible way, where people can actually have put that data into an online system where it can be manipulated and sliced to provide whatever reports that you would require.
Mm-hmm.
And then the observatory piece is, I'm not really clear on exactly what the observatory is, but it would be good to kind of, if there's any gaps in what I've said and in terms of what our vision is for the end of the project, and then to explain what the observatory is, that would be great.
Okay, great. Thank you, Emma, for asking. Okay, basically we are talking about doing this. There is one part of the platform which is a database that is populated by several organizations. Organization 1, Organization 2, Organization 3. These organizations are food banks, okay? So basically the same process that you are doing right now will be handled through a web platform, okay? By doing this, we will reach the first goal. So the data collection process will be simpler, okay, and more efficient. Once the data are here, there is the second part of the platform that is a reporting tool. What does it mean, reporting tool? Is a visual tool. Maybe you saw some short videos that I put on the slides before, that you, the food banks, can use in order to take the data that they put in the database in order to create reports and dashboards. So like nice visual and storytelling, okay? Does it make sense? Okay. So each food bank can use this reporting tool to create its own reports, okay? That can share with its own stakeholders, okay? At the same time, at the higher level, at a more aggregated level, FEBA can create other reports that can be added to the observatory, okay? So the observatory is just a way to access to reports that FEBA can share and publish on the front end part of the website, okay? This part of the website is a restricted access part. Only organizations that have a username and password can access to the system and load data, okay, and push data there. We will understand later if they will use an interface or they will just upload their own Excel files, okay? This part, the reporting part, is a public part. A public part that can be, every organization can decide how much wants to share with the public, okay? Does it make sense? Okay? So you can, through the reporting tool, each organization, including FEBA, can create reports that can stay, that can be published for all the world, or that can be just used internally, okay? It's a so-called publishing tool, okay? Is that more clear? No? Yes. Is that clear? Okay. Please ask me if it's not. And of course, I don't have an interface to show you because we have to build it together. Does it make sense? I can show you things that I already did in other projects, but I mean, we will build this together. It's not something that it's pre-made and that we just put there. Many questions?
Hi, Lena from Fairshare UK. I was thinking about the usefulness, which you mentioned as a really important part of the project. And on the other end of thinking how we sell it internally, when I go back, in our case, we are already using a platform, we have visualization, we have a reporting tool that is useful for us. So we're kind of doing this already just for us and our internal needs. So it would be good to think about the usefulness or the way to sell it, to engage in another system, and what is the benefit besides the contribution aspect of it. What would be then the benefit to someone who already uses visualization, uses a system, whether it's comparison or other things that could be useful from that?
Absolutely. And a great point. This is a very important feedback for us. Couple of things. First, may I ask you which tool are you using now for reporting, for business intelligence?
I'm not on the data side of things, but they're using Power BI.
Power BI, okay, Microsoft Power BI. It's a great tool to create dashboards, so it's one of my favorite actually, so great choice, great choice. When I'm not a Microsoft employee, so I can say that. It's a great tool, which has a couple of issues, I would say. First, the refresh of data. As you probably know, if you want to have a real-time data refresh, it's a bit complicated. Second, report sharing. Because, of course, you can share with others the link, okay, the link that Power BI provides to you. It's a bit hard to create reports that are created, for example, for a food chain, okay? If you want to create a sub-report, it's a bit... so we are thinking about something that is much more simpler to be used and that you can use in order to create data storytelling more than, so for communication purposes, more than for control purposes, okay? Of course, and on top of this, there is another aspect very important that you mentioned at the end of your question. Of course, once the data are here, and once we have data from different situations, from different countries, we can compare. Which is something that you, alone, with your own data sets, even if the data sets are super rich, you cannot do. Okay, so we think that through this tool we will have two different gains. The first one is that the storytelling will be increasing for the outside, okay? Because the visual tool that we are going to give you to build the report will be really nice, you know, really appealing. I was saying attractive, but it's not the same. Appealing, okay, first. Second, you will be capable to enrich data with benchmarks, basically, okay? And we can do that only if all the data are in the same place. Third aspect, as I mentioned before for Belgium, if you already have data, and Power BI is a great tool to do that, we can integrate. So probably, if we will test 1 or 2 integrations, through APIs, maybe we could evaluate the chance of reading directly your data set in this database, if you want, if you say this as valuable. There was another question.
I can add I can complement to your remark. Just, I think the situation in Belgium is different. Is that we are at the moment looking at a reporting software or business intelligence system, because we have a quite old-fashioned system at the moment now, and so it would be an opportunity for us if indeed in the platform and the reporting tool that you are building, if there would be also a part where we can upload maybe our Belgian statistics, and where we could have also a reporting area for with Belgian visualization and Belgian graphs.
Maybe I didn't explain that enough. The reporting area, you have to think about this reporting area as your own place. So Belgium has its own reporting area for its own stakeholders, okay? And you can share public or private reports, okay? Public reports are publicly accessible reports, okay? Everybody with the link can access. Private reports are reports that are accessible only to people that you decide can see the report, okay? For example, you want to share internally something, okay? So this is the Belgium area, then there is, I don't know, the UK, or I don't know, the France, etc., etc., etc. Everybody has its own reporting area. Then there is a global European reporting area, which works mostly in the same way. So it's the way in which FEBA makes like public storytelling about what is going on in the Europe at the overall level, okay? So this is the reporting area of single food banks. Then there is a general FEBA reporting area. Also, FEBA can create private and public reports, okay? Please consider a disclaimer here. We are, at this version of the software, we are not talking about a business intelligence tool, okay? We are not talking about a new Power BI software. It wouldn't be reasonable, okay? We are talking more about a data storytelling tool, okay, for the outside. Now, if we want to, if you, as food banks, are looking for technologies for doing business intelligence, probably we should, you should think about more business intelligence oriented systems, okay, like Power BI, Qlik, or other tools, okay, because as far as we discussed and we shared internally, the reporting tool that we are thinking about is meant to be used for data storytelling, so for the outside, okay? And when you do data storytelling, usually you don't need some of the functionalities that typically are inside a business intelligence software, like data modeling, like data enrichment. Usually it's something that you don't do in this kind of projects, okay? If this is a need, let's put it in the table and we can see how encapsulate this kind of need in the platform that we are going to develop, okay? Okay? Okay. What do you think? Feedbacks? Maybe, I don't know if from online there is any question or? No?
Can I make one more remark?
Yes, but use the microphone.
Okay. Well, just one obvious remark is just for my limited own software development experience. Is just that when you have the intention also to develop this platform, this reporting tool. Just of course think also not just at the timing of the project, that term, but also on the long term. Every software needs means on efforts of maintenance, of keeping it up to date, hosting, etc., and the financial means and the efforts that it needs. That you have that within FEBA when you start with this adventure.
Yeah, may I give some hints on this? This is absolutely clear. This was the first point, maybe the second point, I shared with Angela and with the FEBA team when we started to think about this idea. I immediately said, please don't reinvent the wheel, otherwise we will have to maintain a wheel and will be a bit messy. So we, as a fundamental vision for this project, together with the agile approach, we will use the proudly not invented here approach. Okay. Now this is very important to be understood because it's not feasible for nobody. I mean, at least for our development team. Maybe there is someone out there that can do this. It's not feasible in the time scope of this project to create a new business intelligence software for something. It's absolutely not feasible, okay? It's not feasible, okay? This is clear, right? From house they can say it's clear, okay? It's recorded, okay? But there are some powerful tools that can make data representations. I showed you some videos, some mock-ups of things that are currently existing, okay? So the basic idea is to, if we want to go a bit deeper in the technical details, and I like it, is to create an interface that will let you to input data, okay? So this is the part that we are going to develop. So we are going to manage all the ACL, access control level, so managing who can enter the platform, who cannot. And we will use external services to create the reports, okay? When I say external, don't imagine that you exit from the platform, you go in another website or something like that. Everything will be embedded in our platform, but the technology that we are going to use to create reports is something, a well-established technology, okay? We are doing this because we want to minimize the effort required for the maintenance of the system over the time, okay? Because we are limiting as much as we can the amount of feature that we build from scratch, okay? We will have to develop some features, okay, this is needed, but we want to rely on well-established third-party services for creating the reports, okay, for creating and sharing the reports, okay? This is pivotal because it's basically let us to manage one of the risks of this project. So the reporting creation, since we want to communicate a lot this data outside, the visual part must be pixel perfect, you know, must be absolutely awesome, okay? We cannot make a mistake on this part of the project, okay? So we must be sure that the reporting tool that we are going to use is best in class, okay? It's clear. I mean, I hope you share this perspective.